So MSNBC, Joy Reid, and Moms of Liberty go at it. And you just have to see this exchange because MSNBC Joy Reid criticized Tiffany Justice, co-founder of Moms of Liberty, over banning the memoir, All Boys Aren't Blue, from schools questioning for qualifications. What is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book, isn't appropriate for students to read? Justice responds by stating, I don't have to be an expert to know that dildos are not appropriate for public schools, okay? I can read the rest of it for you, but I'll let you see the clip. Yeah. Rob, if you have the clip, I'm sure Joy Reid's gonna do a much better job than me reading this. Watch this clip here, and parents, I really wanna know, how are you reacting to this exchange? Rob, is this the full clip? Go ahead and play the clip.
Well, we're on the Valuetainment podcast today with Patrick Bet-David and his co-hosts, and yeah, this is just, this is going to be bad just from that introduction there. They're talking about this sickening and degenerate promotion of sexualizing children at school, and then complaining. Then the leftists, the liberals, the so-called progressives, and all that, the LGBTQ, whatever it is, ideologues, get all up in arms when parents attempt to fight back and say, excuse me, we simply don't want these books in schools. Nobody's saying you can't have these books, we just don't want them. So now we're just about to see Joy Reid, who, yeah, don't get me started on her, over at MSNBC, where she is going to defend this gay porn book to a woman who is instrumental in getting these books banned from schools.
What I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's anally raped by his adult family member. So you have incest, rape, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so I'm going to answer
Please
for
do.
you. In what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school? That's my question to you. Tell me what the context around the strap-on dildo or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No, we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me questions.
Sure.
I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Aren't Blue?
What a question.
You're asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe, is his first name.
Because you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You
the
just
name of the
remembered
author
very
doesn't.
specific names.
Joy.
Here's my question.
Talking about
Here's that question.
You didn't answer my question.
No. I'm going to answer your
Great.
question.
I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm interviewing you, and you're not interviewing me. So let's just make sure it's a conversation. So what I'm saying to you is that as you are not an expert in this book,
I don't have to be an expert to know that dildos aren't appropriate for public school. I mean, come on, let's get real.
This book is a full context story, as you said, of the author's experience.
I cannot believe
Why
this
is it
being
your right
sold
or a
on
Moms
TV.
for Liberty activist's right to say that a parent who wants their child to have access to this book, which gives a personal experience of this author,
MSNBC. This is embarrassing.
why doesn't a liberal
MSNBC.
parent, for instance, or a parent of an LGBTQ kid, why don't they have a right for their child to just have access to this book? Why is it your right to say they can't?
So, again, we're talking about incest, rape, and pedophilia.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is just nonsense. Joy Reid is making nonsensical attacks here, making completely irrelevant statements. Unfortunately, this woman, who is representing Moms for Liberty, I guess it's called, she could be doing a much better job. When Joy Reid asked the first question, what makes you an expert on what kind of books are good or appropriate for schools, all she had to say was, you don't need to be an expert to know that books talking about strap-on dildos and anal rape are not appropriate for schools. Next question. That's all she had to say. She could have put Joy Reid right on the back foot with that. And now this latest question that Joy Reid asked, saying, what gives you the right to tell people what books they can and can't show to their kids? Well, all she has to say, what she doesn't, is, I'm not trying to take anybody's right away. They can do that at home, in the privacy of their own home. I feel sorry for the children who are going to be shown these books, but parents have absolutely the right to do that. But nobody has a right, or children, let's put it this way, the public should expect that schools do not have this kind of materials in school libraries. It's really that simple. There's not really an argument to be made here.
Ophelia,
And
Joy, you
each
said you-
parent,
Joy, you said
one
you
moment,
let me
no.
answer.
Each parent has to decide what is appropriate for their child to read. So I want you to answer. I'm going to ask it
let's
one more
have
time.
Great.
What is your
Joy just answered herself. Each parent decides, and each parent can only do that at home. They can't do it for the whole school or for the school district.
right to tell a parent who wants their child, who might feel seen by this story, why don't they have the right? Why don't they have the right as a parent to say, my child can have access to this book?
If a child feels seen by this story, that means that they have been the victim of a predator. That means that they have either been raped by a family member, they've experienced
And your proof
rape.
of that is
Oh
what?
my
You just
God.
said that
What's
if
your
a child
proof of
feels
that?
seen by this story. What I'm saying, Joy,
You're now making assumptions.
no,
about it.
Joy, but if a
Let me
child
give you
has
an-
been raped, you should do a
look at
lot better
Joy.
than
She
put a
can't
book
be
in
this-
the
Now you're
library.
she can't
literally
be this
creating a
ignorant.
You
story
can process
behind.
at this point.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you think she's that stupid?
No,
Or
she's
this
not.
is the narrative? Because, by the way, let's not forget by the way, never trust anybody that's hair looks like this to make any decisions about anything about you and your kids. What she's doing right here is one of the reasons people like me always think that the left is always over-sexualizing kids and doesn't care about topics like this. And that's why everybody's always like, dude, what is she talking about? What is she even talking about? And let's not forget who Joy Reid is. She's the one, remember on the panel with Bill Maher when Ann Coulter was like, Donald Trump's the, what's it called? She made that face like, she's an idiot. There's no way she could think like
Tom,
this.
when you hear this, logically, when you hear this, a host of a brand, MSNBC, saying it's okay for a book with dildos and
Pedophilia and rape.
Well, how do you process this as a parent, Tom?
So, Joy Reid is a pathetic mouthpiece of the left that wants to sexualize children and wants to make sure that onboarding and grooming materials are present on the shelves of libraries and public schools. It's as simple as that. They want the stuff on there. They want the progressive sexualization of kids. That's the purpose here. Now, I happen to think that this woman could have done better for herself. I would have known the author. I would have known.
Yeah, he's just pointing out what I said earlier. The Moms for Liberty woman could have done much better. But he also made an excellent point. Why? You can also just turn the question right around. Why do you want these kind of books in schools? What kind of person wants these kinds of books in schools for children to look at? Okay, if that's really the kind of person you are, buy it yourself and show it to your kids at home or whatever. But why do you want that in schools? That's really the people with traditional values. You can call them whatever you want, Republicans, conservatives. I tend to stay away from these terms because, frankly, I think the Republicans are useless. This should be a slam dunk for them, especially coming up with a general election coming up. It should be an absolute slam dunk. Why do you want this guy? Who on earth wants their kids? Who takes their kids to Drag Queen Story Hour? What kind of person wants their kids to see that? What kind of person wants to be a drag queen reading to children? So easy.
Known his date of birth. I would have known the name of the publisher, and I would have fired back at her pretty hard on those. So I think she could have been a little bit more informed and kind of fought back against it. But Joy Reid's whole angle here is to discredit her. That's all she's trying to do. She was not arguing even for the book. She's just trying to discredit the other side. I'm interviewing you, you're not interviewing me, meaning I'm here to ask a bunch of questions to discredit you. But all I see is a mouthpiece for the left to advocate to putting this stuff on the shelves in public schools to allow kids to have access to it, to act on their curiosities or act on their depression.
Adam.
That's her job here.
Adam.
Look, it's becoming clearer and clearer who she is. You know, she's going to reap what she sows. I just Googled Joy Reid just to kind of see what's popping up. If you Google Joy Reid, do it right now. The first thing that pops up is Joy Reid strap-on. So congratulations, Joy. This is now the word associated
Don't
with
Google
your name.
strap-on, Robert.
Is that a
No,
wait a minute?
just Joy
I
Reid.
was
That's the
about
first thing
to
that
Google
pops up.
strap-on Joy
Does
Reid.
she
The
have a-
second thing that pops up is Joy Reid hair, and I realized where have I seen this hair before, and it's one of our favorite movies over here. Rob, if you could pull that up. We saw her go full retard in Tropic Thunder. We recognize that hairdo. And you know they said...
Make me...
Yeah,
I knew
They
it.
said, you know, never go full retard over here. But, you know, I also found out that Joy has 3 kids. And she's married. I thought she might have been a lesbian. I don't know. But she's got 3 kids. So I want to know if she's going to let her kids read this book. I want to know if she's encouraging her kids to enjoy this type of lifestyle.
The youngest child that she has is 24 years old. So if her child was in elementary or middle school, that was, 15 years ago before this was, prevalent for most schools to have these types of books.
Her youngest child is 24. How old is she? Jesus. Anyway, good for her. But she's just an absolute shill of whatever's happening
I'm
here.
actually wanting to talk real substance here. Forget about you calling her idiot or shill or this and that. Tom, we'll come back to Tom. You found something awesome. Hang tight. We'll come to you, Tom. So forget about what she is and all the name calling. The average parent who doesn't follow politics closely is 80% of parents. 80% of parents don't care about politics. They don't follow it. They don't turn on CNN. They don't turn on Fox. They don't turn on MSNBC. They don't turn these things on. Maybe they get the news as it gets a little bit closer to the election cycle, maybe a little bit, but they're watching a Netflix show at night. They're watching a series at night. They're watching something like that at night. You mean to tell me you're okay with kids in school reading an award-winning book for, All Boys on Blue, which is banned, by the way, go to the top, which is banned by how many schools?
29.
29 school districts, and you think it's okay? And she asked the question, in what context is a dildo strap-on acceptable? And
Yeah, parents in America, honestly, if you have children in school, you have to find out what's going on. Now, I'm over here in Europe. Believe me, I'm not looking down at you. This, unfortunately, all this madness, which takes root in America, it eventually makes its way over here. It's already making its way over here. I have 4 daughters. 3 of them are grown up, but one is still in school. She's only 13. And I am very, very aware of what's going on. I also talk to her, not directly about things like this, but basically, I'm already red pilling her slowly and gently, not going crazy or anything, but just pointing out reality, facts, statistics, reality, all that kind of stuff. And if you have to start, you have to assume your parental responsibility. A lot of parents, and I'm not pointing any fingers, because I did the same, especially with my older daughters who are grown up. They basically hand off all responsibilities to the school. And that, especially in this day and age, that is a big, big mistake. Please know what's going on in your schools. Anyway, that's it for today. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel and helps me to continue making content for you.